Real Music exclusive.
I grew up like a savage.
One, two, one, two. You now rocking with the No Vultures podcast. You got me, myself, Lord Rap. You got OG Clee going away on a vacation, free OG Clee. And today we got a very, 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 very special guest. Now, this young lady is a very unique talent. I'm talking about extremely, extremely, extremely talented. She has worked with some of your favorite artists, and we're going to get into that and let her tell you that. But she also has been around here, running around the Bay Area as a undercover genius in the background of a lot of your favorites. And like this time around, she's expressing who she is as an artist herself and letting you hear her songs through her mouth and seeing her vision through her eyes. Today we got the lovely Jane Hancock on No Vultures.
Hey.
Man, it is such a pleasure to have you on this show. I'm one of the biggest fans, because and like I say, from the background shit, like I'm a fan of all of that. I'm a fan of the pen. I'm a fan of everything that you do, your vision, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. For a while, you've just been supporting and just on the low, sending messages and just reposting anything. So I appreciate you for real.
For sure. I got to give you the No Vultures disclaimer. So, started a podcast because of my love for the game and everything that's in it. And where I'm from, we didn't have many podcasts covering the culture in the fashion that I would like to appreciate the culture. So we don't want to talk to Jane because Jane has some type of controversy or an unfortunate accident or God forbid or just something that is like cloudy. You know what I'm saying? We ain't with that. We want to give you your flowers and appreciate you for what you do and why you here. So that's why we did that. Like, that's why we started a podcast. And I myself am a culture nerd. I like to say rap nerd, but it's really a culture nerd. So I'll be on some WWF shit or I'll be on some, I used to listen to fucking Menudo as a kid, like all kind of shit. So I'm just I'm one of those guys that just like, I got a culture or musical reference for everything.
Straight up.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's me. So how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. You looking good.
Thank you.
Feeling good. You glowing?
Yeah. I'm happy.
Happy.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm in a good space and I'm in a good space for sure.
That's good.
For sure.
Well, so I like to go from the beginning to the end, right? So born in Oakland.
Yes.
Raised in Richmond.
Yes.
And that kind of thing is that's like the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like going back and forth. And I know early on that you've always been into music and singing.
Yes.
So how did that start when you was young? Was it like one of those things like a lot of black people where you just go to church and get in the choir? Or was it those things like, wait, she can sing. Let's get her in the choir.
So shout out my home church, St. John in Richmond. My grandmother was one of like the original members of that church, and then my mother was born into that church, and she sang in the choir, so she was a soprano. And then she also sang in like the Richmond Community Choir, I believe, and just all the little workshops and everything. And when I was little, when I was like 3 years old, I wasn't a kid that sat still, so I was just like,
they should try to give you peppermints and butterscotch in church.
I'll eat them things up and start running. Like, thank you for the extra sugar. Thanks for the sugar. I'm about to really go
it's going
crazy.
on.
But no, I used to just be like, I want to sing. And my mom used to say, if you're going to come up here, you better hold your note. And I was singing with the Sopranos at 3 for sure.
Wow.
So I kind of thought I was like killing it because I would go to children's church late just because I would have to sing in the children's choir and in the adult choir. And that was like my childhood for sure.
And then I know that I did know you was a part of St. John's, and then you went to OSA though.
Yeah, I went there my 10th grade year, graduated.
Oh, okay. Like I like OSA, right? Because I think Kaylani is alumni.
Hmm.
Maybe I don't know who else is it, like Zendaya or something. Yeah,
Zendaya, Adrian
Adrian
Marcel,
Marcel.
a lot more people. Tatiana, I forgot her last name, but if you guys watch You on Netflix,
I love that show.
she's on the new season.
Joe, the only nigga know how to hide behind a hat.
She's Joe's new boo. So Joe's new
Oh,
boo went
the
to
librarian.
yes, yes,
Oh, oh,
yes.
okay.
So they weren't in my class because I graduated a little ahead of them,
Uh-huh.
but they were like, kids that I saw as I was like, we all thought we were grown in high school.
Was that
So
like the pop life generation
that
kids?
was the pop life generation.
Yeah.
So, they were middle schoolers, we were high schoolers.
Okay.
So, some of them would like, ask us to buy them lunch
Yeah. Yeah.
off campus and stuff. And we had our own stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just dope I feel like we're the LaGuardia of the Bay Area for sure.
I was about to say that, and also like because when you hear those stories of Tupac and Jada Pinkett going to school together, or you hear the stories about Lauryn Hill back in the day being in these schools, and you say, what is I'm such a Bay Area dude that I think about what is our version of everything.
Straight up same.
You know what I'm saying? So now that people see me going crazy with the Warriors, I'm prideful because I sat back for all them years while we was hella weak. You know what I'm saying? And
Period.
people only going to games when somebody else came into town, and now we a
Yeah.
dynasty. So
That's
look at that.
real.
Look how shit changed.
That's real.
And so I feel like that, and I know enough about other places to want to cover us
Yeah,
and put us out there in the same way, so people be comparing themselves to us.
absolutely.
But in that experience in art school, how was it like? Because I know some kids that go there now. Shout out my niece Jordan and my little homie Stefan. But I want to know, like, how's the curriculum? Is it a lot different from regular school?
It was. So my ninth grade year, I went to El Cerrito,
Okay.
and I just socially drowned. I was just invisible. I wasn't like bullied or nothing like that. I never was like bullied, but I just socially didn't fit in.
Right.
And then I skipped a grade, so I graduated a year early, and I
That's
think
really awkward.
yeah,
That
it
that
is,
one year
because
in
you're
develop
young and
that 1 year in development is like 10.
yeah, no, for real,
Yeah.
because you're like you, you just really don't have your place for real. So I think I found my place at OSA to where it was different. We would have school like regular classes from like 8 to maybe like 12, do like an hour break, and then from like 1 to 5 was nothing but our emphasis. So some people did like visual arts, literary, instrumental, stage management, all this stuff, theater, vocal music. I was part of vocal music.
Okay.
Now it's so diverse because they have like music theater. They have a recording emphasis, which is really dope. I probably would have switched and went
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. It's definitely evolving. But it was good. It was good for me. It was good for my friends. Shout out cousin Dre.
Oh, shout out cousin Dre.
He that's one of my best friends, and he and I graduated same year, and yeah, we've been friends over 15 years.
That's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I love about that is a lot of artsy people are very eccentric, right? So it's easy to not fit into like the high school world, right? Because the high school is a perfect reflection of baby adults, right? So
Yeah.
kind of like personalities figuring out who people are, like
Yeah.
you have those super asshole like type people, you got the jock, you got the and so cuz I look at school as like a social experiment and also a place where you learn how to just stick to task in a social environment.
No, for real. I mean, it was so funny because I was just talking to one of my friends. Shout out Tavia. She's co-chair of the theater
Okay.
department at OSA now. And she went to OSA.
Okay.
And she was like, sis, you were popular. And I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, it was only 12 of us that went there. So I hope I was popular. Like, I think it was like 62 people that graduated in my class.
Yeah.
It was very small. It's way more children now than when we were there, because it literally was maybe 100-some students
Okay.
when we, and that was all grades.
Okay.
So it expanded over time, but I guess you would say we were like the jocks. We didn't have basketball and football games. That kind of sucked a little bit,
Yeah.
but we did have rallies. We had, and then our shows that was game time.
Yeah.
So, shows were like, it was just serious,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
serious. But I love that we all still kind of came from the hood, especially our era.
Right.
Our era
right,
was a
right.
little different. And I appreciate each era when I go back to OSA, but the children are more liberated than we were. And we were liberated, but in a different way. We really came from the hood. Everybody, even every culture was from the hood, for real. So
yeah.
I think that was the difference. We were all fighting for our lives, for real.
Is this dead smack in the middle of the hyphy movement?
Ooh, yep.
It is.
Yep.
So
We was hypey.
yeah. So it was a very different time. Very different time. And what I always say about that time, and which is good that y'all was in school, because y'all probably was learning a lot on the technological side too.
Yeah.
Because that time was the time where you were gonna become prehistoric, or you was gonna switch over into this new shit, right? And so for the Bay Area, being very independent, a lot of people got stuck being prehistoric.
For real.
And what I mean by that is the birth of the MP3 and us selling music out of our trunk was a disaster. Because you're like, wait a minute, these niggas got my music everywhere. They just selling it. It's Napster, it's LimeWire.
LimeWire.
You know what I'm saying? And people downloading shit. MySpace was new. So
Yeah.
sharing was new. And monetizing the streams wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't. It
Yeah.
was at one point in time, I would be happy if 40 people downloaded a song of mine. I look at the Facebook memories.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I was so lame. Like, thank you to the 90 people
Yeah,
that
yeah.
downloaded. Like,
Right,
we were
right.
just getting it. Like, and in high school, I had learned to record myself because I just knew I wanted to do music. I didn't know like the logistics, of course, but I knew like I was gonna sing, like I was
Right.
gonna be an artist. Like
Right.
we were getting money in high school, singing in clubs. We would have to hide in the bathrooms. I
Damn.
won't name the clubs.
Yeah.
But we would have to like hide in the bathrooms and wait until it was a full crowd, just so the security wouldn't chase us down.
Right.
And we weren't like wilding out. We literally just wanted to sing and play, and that was like a thing for us, for real. So I think going to OSA taught me how to hustle. Because I just thought I was grown. Like I was either at my uncle's spot,
yeah.
or I went to a program called Bump.
Okay, I know
And
about Bump.
yeah, and so like during lunch, since it was down the street, I would be trying to like be all flashy and
Yeah.
like, y'all come up to the studio. And,
Yeah.
I was just doing too much,
Yeah.
but it was fun. It was a fun time, and it taught me everything. Now, I didn't have to work hard to be disciplined because I love it.
Right. So what was that scene like at the time for like as far as like, or well, let me ask you this. Let me go back a little bit. Coming up, and I know you love Aretha Franklin and you like Erykah Badu and the Lawrence, but like what was really like outside of gospel, like what was like the soundtrack to your life coming up? Like what is that thing, like either hip hop or any kind of soul or whatever you was listening to? What was those things that was most impactful?
Jill Scott,
Mm-hmm.
India Irie, Music Soul Child, Raphael Sadiq, Snoop,
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z, Rick Ross, Faith Evans.
You damn near naming your discography right now.
For real though,
You know what I'm
it's such a blessing to, everything to kind of like come full circle. But
Yeah.
yeah, those was the people that I listened to the most. My mom really was into like Tony Braxton and Kelly Price.
Okay.
So, she was a real 90s mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she had the nails and the red lipstick and the bobs. And, I get a lot of my mom's style from back then now.
Yeah.
And, it was all in the music too. Like Mary, when I meet Mary, I got to just thank her for sharing my world.
Oh
and
man, everybody
the
do.
album Mary, like.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I was in jail, and there was a lot of niggas sharing my world in jail.
Straight up.
I mean, it got
Straight up.
niggas through. Like,
Yeah.
like it was crazy. Like
got people
Mary
through.
that transcends everything. Like
Yeah.
that's just different,
Yeah.
That's crazy. You said your mom. I can see the influence and hear the influence when you say your mom is a real '90s mom.
Yeah, she was. That's my girl though. Like
Yeah.
that's like she wasn't super young, but she was young
Yeah.
when she had me. So like she wasn't a teenager or nothing, but like she was young.
Mm-hmm.
So I think our bond was just, crazy. And then, just growing up in Richmond, it was just real Richmond. Like
Real
it was
Richmond.
real Richmond. Like I love the town too. Cause I could I know the nooks and crannies about the town just cause, I grew up there too, but like I was raised really in Richmond and it was just a culture in
South
itself.
Richmond?
South Side, yeah.
Yeah. I love that because as beautiful as your music is and as delicate as you seem, you know that underneath it's like, like nah, like you know what I'm saying? I'm from that shit. You know what I'm
Straight
saying?
up.
Like, but I think having that gives the greatest artist the edge, kind of like the advantage almost. Like it's like what we love Mary for. Like none of us let's keep it real. None of us really care for Happy Mary. Like as fucked up as it is, we damn man, Mary. We've seen things in public that she's went through, and we like damn. At that time, she was slapping though. Like
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, nah,
Like
for real.
she was going through some shit. Like you think as toxic as they say her and KC relationship was, we was getting great
You
music.
got great music and then just she fought a lot of inner things too, which I can relate to. Even with Keyshia. Keyshia was like a real I'll never forget what was I in high school? And I think I skipped school low key. Like I was like, Mom, I'm finna go see Keyshia.
Yeah.
Like I'm just letting you know in case they call say I wasn't there. Like I'm finna go see Keyshia, and she rolled up in like maybe 3-4 white Phantoms. This when she first like the I changed my mind Keyshia,
Right.
and she came back. She came back to Oakland. It was Castlemont.
Okay.
And everybody was there. It was crazy, but just to see that and to see who she is and where she come from, to see her be like that was like, I'm gonna do that.
Right.
I'm gonna do that.
Right.
Like, period. So
Yeah.
she was like she was a young Mary for me too. Like,
Yeah, she was. She
Just being
definitely
from
was,
here,
yeah.
for surely you felt the pain.
She definitely was. And I heard a lot of the raw Keyshia, a lot of those songs that she had actually penned herself, that was just in the hood. Like she was singing that shit. I mean, of course they polished it, but she was singing those songs. Like, so that's fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I love about our people. Like, it's like, we be in such fucked up circumstances and then like we just rise. Like it ain't no stopping us. You know what I'm saying? We just keep going. Like, so and speaking of pain, which I hear a lot in your music, you talk about being like judged or you talk about your like I heard you say something in the music about alopecia or I heard you like say about being kind of like blind almost. Like
Yeah, I went blind. maybe 4 years ago, and then I had to get a cornea transplant to where I had to get like a new lens just to see. And I was falling everywhere. I have lupus too, so like I don't know what really played a factor to me going blind like that, but I'll never forget because I really couldn't see anything. Like I really was like, man, I'm gonna be blind. And then when the doctor, told me like, yeah, you're legally blind. It just was like, damn. So I think that's what kind of got me more into music, though. I started really listening to things more because I had to listen more so than rely on my sight. And then, yeah, I have alopecia. That was something that I always wanted to hide because I thought that was like, growing up, especially in the hood, that's ugly, period. How cruel kids could be. And I started losing my hair like in high school, like 11th grade, 12th grade. So that was such a crazy, vulnerable year for me. And my hair was always very, very long. So to lose that was just like, damn, But I hid it, and it's nothing that I think because I have more people looking at me, and it's easy to get hyped up. It's easy to, like I was telling you even before, this was like, it's easy just to drink your own juice. And I'd rather say my flaws before somebody else be like, well, y'all don't know Jane because she da-da-da-da-da. Well, if I say it, then what?
Yeah.
Stay on blue.
I'm just trying to stay racked up like you.
Put an 8 in a 1 and do magic. Tryna stretch hair on like elastic. Eco-friendly drug dealer, I don't waste no plastic. Use all 4 corners of that baggie. All I ever wanted was a bankroll. So I pull up on Champ before the bank close. Say no to stank hoes and stank clothes. No paramedic pimpin', nigga, we don't save hoes. Yeah, rest in peace to Lil'